In this episode, we talk about a topic that is one of the most highly requested topics I've ever done on this show. Every time I've done something about a motorcycle club or a motorcycle builder, a lot of people say, what about the Ben Hardys, the Sugar Bears? What about the Black Outlaw motorcycle clubs? We're gonna get into all of that on this episode of Demons Row TV. And oh yeah, we ghosting, baby. Big shout to the Ghosts and the Ghost Sets. Welcome to Demons Row TV, the holy grail of MC culture, where we cover everything motorcycle and motorcycle club involved. I'm Sos the Ghost. I'm your host for the evening, and today we're gonna talk some Black history, Black outlaw motorcycle clubs. There's a lot that we have covered on this show, and I'm not big on racial, like I don't pick a topic out just because it's a certain race or it's a certain club. Whatever comes on my table that you think is a good topic and I think that you're gonna enjoy is what I talk about. So this is a topic that a lot of people have asked me about, and I want to give love to Lowbrow Customs. This is the site we're gonna review, and let's get into this. Now the first segment we're gonna talk about is Vaughs and Ben Hardy, member of the Chosen Few MC. If you don't know who this bad mother was, he was the guy who designed the bikes ridden by Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper in the IC film Easy Rider. Him and another badass black dude named Ben Hardy built the iconic Captain America and Billy bikes for the movie. Hardy was a very skilled bike builder and built 2 Billy bikes and 3 Captain America bikes. Being that it was 1969, they got no credit for building arguably the most famous choppers in history. And it sucks that everything had to be like that at that time, but good thing this generation now, we can uplift these legends like Ben Hardy, like Vaughs, and give them the flowers that they deserve. Now let's switch it up to the outlaw lifestyle and let's talk about the Chosen Few MC. Shout to the Chosen Few, I'll shout the Redman, shout to my brother AK, solid bros in that club. The Chosen Few Motorcycle Club, an important piece of chopper/club culture. They were founded in 1959 in Los Angeles. When you talk of the outlaw bikers, you automatically think of them crazy white boys doing what a lot of folk wish they could do. Live life like you want and F you and your rules. Well, guess what? There were some crazy black bikers who felt the same way and didn't give a F. Thus was born the Black Outlaw Bikers. The Chosen Few became a multiracial MC with chapters that were all black, all white, half white and half Mexican, half black and half white, all Mexican, half Mexican and half Indian, a few Asians and 1 Iranian dude. They were one of the first, if not the very first, multiracial 1%er club. Rest in peace to Toby Jean Livingston. Let's talk about the East Bay Dragons MC. The East Bay Dragons Motorcycle Club, the baddest of the bad, in my opinion of course, mainly because they are from the Oakland and Bay Area. Originally started as a car club, they made the switch to an MC in 1959 due to harassment from law enforcement. Longtime friend Sonny Barger suggested they switch to a motorcycle club because bikes were more discreet than cars, easier to maintain and cheaper to work on. In 1959 and even well into the 60s, although there were 2 Harley Davidson dealerships in Oakland, no dealership in the Bay Area would sell bikes to black customers. Wow, I didn't know it was like that as far as buying bikes. All the original founding members had to buy used bikes in order to obtain ownership of one. Black Panthers came to the Dragons for ideas and support during their creation. Due to the support both organizations have for each other, some of the Black Panthers eventually became members of the East Bay Dragons after the Black Panthers disbanded. That's super cool, I never knew that. Most of the black clubs around back then rode dressers and baggers, while the Dragons rode choppers. For all of you Sons of Anarchy fans, the Grim Bastards were loosely based on the East Bay Dragons and their relationship with the Hells Angels that surpassed racial barriers during the 1960s and 70s. To this day, they are still an all-black, all-male, Old Harley Davidson Riding Motorcycle Club. Let's talk about the legendary Bessie Stringfield. In the 30s and 40s, Bessie started tossing a penny on the map of the USA and riding her motorcycle wherever said penny landed. She rode around all 40 states and traveled the country around 8 times. Hotels wouldn't rent rooms to black folks, let alone a little black woman riding a Harley, probably covered in road grime. She often slept on a motorcycle. Can you imagine how gnarly that must have been, especially in middle America? Bessie rode Milwaukee Iron. She said all 27 Harleys she owned in her lifetime. To me, a Harley is the only motorcycle ever made. She was such a skilled rider that she would also do stunt riding in carnival shows. During World War II, she worked as a civilian dispatch rider. Her job was mostly to carry documents between domestic U.S. bases. Bessie was married and divorced 6 times. When she divorced her third husband, Arthur Stringfield, he asked her to keep his last name because he knew that one day Bessie would make that name famous. She moved to Miami in the 1950s and eventually started the Iron Horse Motorcycle Club. Of course, she felt the hardships of the racial situation at the time, but she also felt the hardships of being a woman at the time. Disguised as a man, Bessie won a track race but was denied the prize money after she took off her helmet. As she mentioned before, she was a stunt rider. She could get attention from the press by riding around while standing on the seat of her bike. She was nicknamed the Negro Motorcycle Queen and later the Motorcycle Queen of Miami. Take a moment to take all that in and think about how much of a badass Bessie was. This is an insane story. Like, she had every kind of barrier being a black woman at that time. Women didn't have the rights at that time, and she's just riding around the country. Like, imagine the stuff she saw and the situations that she got into. She's literally sleeping on her bike. That's legend status right there. Now let's talk about the legendary Sugar Bear. Let's talk about a man of choppers. If you're into chop motorcycles and haven't heard this name, you probably need to start over. For those of you that are just along for the ride, let's talk about Sugar Bear. Having long Springer fork fronts is almost a must at some point. There have been dozens of manufacturers of these type of forks, and almost all of them were hoppy, sketchy, and just plain questionable. However, there are a few builders that come to mind who made Springers that are undoubtedly superior to the rest. Dick Allen, Denver Mullins, Arlen Ness, and Sugar Bear. I have personally seen and owned all of these at one time, and the quality truly is mind-blowing. Bear got into bikes at the tail end of the 60s, which led him to meeting, learning from, and befriending Ben Hardy, one of the masterminds behind the Easy Rider bikes. Sugar Bear opened his own shop in 1971 in South Central LA and started building spring forks and lengths up to 18-inch over stock, using solid steel to construct them during the time when most Springers were made out of tubing. He was a mathematician when it came to figure out rake and trail, which resulted in a front fork that could be ridden with one hand with no bounce and 0 hop, something that's usually unheard of with a long Springer. He had a few advertisements throughout the years in numerous magazines, but most of his work was done by word of mouth. Fame wasn't something that he was seeking. He just wanted to make a living doing the thing that he loved, building choppers. This is something I envy very much. As time went on and the styles of choppers changed and evolved, Sugar Bear stayed true to his roots and kept building them his way. This led to more and more business over the years and turned into a family affair. His son Little Bear now works side by side with him, keeping the legacy going. Sugar Bear and his choppers and infamous Springer front ends have stood the test of time. This one right here was just an article, but we're going to get into everything involving this culture. There's no color barrier when it comes to Demons Row and any history. I just need to be provided with the history because a lot of people ask me to speak on certain subjects and sometimes the knowledge isn't there, the articles aren't there, so we need more when it comes to that type of stuff. But I hope you enjoyed this, and if there's history or OGs, of course I always say I love to sit down with the OGs that want to give knowledge to this younger generation and keep that MC culture ball rolling. Hit me at demonsrow@gmail.com. If you want to support the row, get your rated G for Ghost and hats. They're out right now on www.demonsrow.com. I got another video where I talk about the purge is here, how we have to stick together and drop all these beefs. It'll be linked above. And thank you for tuning in to Demons Row TV, the holy grail of MC culture. Like, subscribe, and comment. And oh yeah, we ghosting, baby.